Hey guys, Christian here. So, a Great Depression's coming. Afternoon everybody, Christian here. So, let's just get right into this. Before I do, I have a lot of things I want to talk about. And then we'll kind of segue into where I'm going with this. This week I received a lot of different communications from various different viewers in various different ways. So we had somebody send me a letter from California, probably the prettiest letter I've ever seen. I mean, the envelope was amazing. The inside, they had a little card that was matching and very beautiful. And then, of course, there was the letter as well. It's a donation. And in that, actually, I want to take a moment here. And that letter, you mentioned that you had a dream in which God had shown you me in this dream. Actually, that's not the first time I've heard a version of that dream that you're talking about. So other people have mentioned to me before that God has shown them dreams and I'm in it. And this is what they saw. And it's very similar to what you saw. So just thank you for sharing that with me. I do appreciate that. Also, I had somebody from Canada make a donation on our website at christianprophetic.com, and they were doing what I had told you guys you could do, which is if you're like, hey, Christian, I want to know what you have in your portfolio. So they made a donation. They had stated in the comment section, something along those lines, to indicate to me that they wanted to see this. I refunded their donation, and then I thought, this person probably thinks to themselves, what the heck just happened? Let me explain. About 2 weeks ago, I closed out all my positions on the long side. And I had various reasons for doing that. Mainly, I didn't like what I was seeing in the repo market with the rates, and there seemed to be some liquidity issues within the banking sector that seemed kind of off to me. And I wasn't hearing any encouraging news that was telling me this is going to be fine. People were more like looking into it, like I didn't really understand why it was happening, which didn't make me all that confident. So I just thought, I'll close these positions. I'll probably get an opportunity to buy these at a better price in the future. So let me just do that now. And so I exited the positions, and then I started seeing more and more negative stuff coming out. And I thought, I'll take a couple of short positions as well. So I went out and bought some puts and made some money on the downside as the market was moving lower. And all those things were great. I enjoyed all that, of course. As a trader, that makes perfect sense to you. But this is also at the same time period that I was kind of going through something in my mind, dealing with some things that the Lord had shown me that I had seen, and then I had held back from sharing them with you because I thought, I'm not certain God was trying to tell me that. Maybe I'm just assuming that with what I saw. Well, let me give you guys some input here. And somebody else today sent a donation to the website, and they were mentioning investing as well. So I think it's a good time to bring this out and kind of try to share with you what's in the back of my mind, what I'm thinking about. Obviously, I'm a big fan of going out and buying great companies and paying long-term, planning long-term that you're slowly acquiring as they get cheaper and cheaper if you're in a down market, or holding those and letting them pay dividends and reinvest the dividends, all that stuff. But I like to trade situations that I feel confident, whether long or short. So right now I have this dream in my mind, and the dream that I shared with you guys, I gave you a while back, and in that dream I talk about an orange car that I saw in this dream that was sold to me in this dream, and you can go watch the video if you haven't already seen it. I'm not going to go into all the details that were revealed there and what the Lord showed me about that, but one detail I held back because I wasn't certain of what I was seeing, and then my daughter came to me later and she told me a dream that she had, which brought me confirmation, so I knew, okay, this is the real deal. So anyway, when I see somebody trying to sell a nice car at pennies on the dollar, my first thought is Great Recession, or Great Depression, I should say. That was the first time I've ever seen something like that happen. There's a very famous picture of somebody trying to sell a car in the Great Depression time period. And that's just, when I saw that in the dream, I immediately thought that. But again, I didn't want to just assume that's what God was saying, so I kind of held back on sharing that with you. But then again, my daughter came to me and she said, "Hey Dad, I had this dream. I'm not going to give you all the details, but she told me one detail about it was that somebody from my family had come to live with me because their family couldn't afford to support them anymore." And immediately I knew, okay, that's the second thing that rings of great depression to me. So yeah, that's what we're seeing. And then I had already made a video a good while back. I think it's called The Third Wave. You can watch it here if I can find it. And talks about a situation that's happening in China, or that will happen in China. And I had mentioned in that dream, when I made that video, I said, this is not something that's going to be only felt in China. It's going to have repercussions, right? So, and now with what's happening with the global market, as well as the situation between China and the U.S., I think, hey, this is something that it could be happening now. Like I said, I oftentimes get things from God. He tells me this is happening, but I don't necessarily know the exact day that a thing will trigger or things like that. I can only tell you what He tells me. So basically, I wanted to share that with you and make sure that everyone's clear that we are going into a very, very, very difficult financial time period. However, God was also speaking to me this week about saying that the time of judgment is now, right? We know that. And He said, I'm going to bless my people, and it's happening now. Be looking for it. And what He's told you about, what you've been believing Him for, though you've been ridiculed for it, you've been walking in faith, and God is pleased with you, and He's going to reward you. You don't get to. God pays His debts in a sense. I don't know how to word that in any other way. Basically, I'm not going to go all into it, but basically, just know that God's not going to leave you where you're at. All right. He's not done. He's going to make you forget how bad it was. It's going to be so good you'll forget how bad it was. That's huge. But He's also saying to me this week, at the same time that those things are taking place, He's going to be striking the wicked. And so in that dream with the orange car, you see somebody in this parking lot who's having to sell an asset, something that's nice, for pennies on the dollar. But you're able to go and acquire that thing at a very, very low price. So those two things are going to be simultaneously happening. It's very cool.